Gran Canaria is known for its sunlight, for beaches that glow gold in the afternoon, for terraces filled with laughter, for music drifting through warm night air. But there is another Gran Canaria, a quieter one, a version of the island that exists beyond the postcards and holiday brochures, a world hidden behind rusted gates, cracked walls, and doors that haven't opened in years, a world where nature slowly reclaims what once belonged to ambition, tourism, faith, and industry. Behind every abandoned building on this island is a story, not just of decay, but of dreams, of plans that once felt unstoppable, of investors who believed in the future, of families who built, worked, hoped, of laughter that once echoed where only wind moves today. When we step into an abandoned place, we don't just see broken glass and peeling paint. We see layers of time. The silence is never empty. It is full of memory. Gran Canaria has reinvented itself many times, from agriculture to tourism, from small villages to international destinations. But not every project survived that transformation. Some places were left behind, caught between eras, suspended in time. That contrast is powerful. Luxury next to ruin, tourism next to silence, progress next to abandonment. And that contrast tells the true story of an island that has always been evolving. In this special ExploGC Top 5, we take you into that hidden dimension of Gran Canaria. We explore forgotten hotels, silent estates, mysterious institutional buildings, empty shopping centers, and historic spa complexes swallowed by nature. Not to glorify destruction, not to trespass recklessly, but to document, to observe, to understand. Because abandonment is not the end of a story. It is a different chapter. This Top 5 is an invitation to look beyond the surface of Gran Canaria, to see not only where people go, but also where people once went, to understand how fragile even the biggest projects can be, and to realize that every ruin was once new. Welcome to the other side of the island. Welcome to silence, dust, history, and memory. Welcome to the ExploGC Top 5 Abandoned Places in Gran Canaria. Number 5. Los Berrazales Spa and Botelladora Agua de San Roque.
Hidden deep in the green valley of Agaete, far from the busy tourist resorts of the south, lies a place where water once meant luxury, healing, and prestige. Los Berrazales Spa Valle de Agaete. In the late 19th century, this valley became home to one of the most remarkable wellness destinations in Gran Canaria. The mineral waters of Agua de San Roque were believed to have therapeutic properties, rich in iron and natural minerals flowing directly from the mountains. At a time when health tourism was rising across Europe, visitors traveled here seeking cures, rest, and refinement. The spa complex grew into a symbol of elegance. Guests would arrive dressed in formal attire, strolling through carefully designed gardens, breathing the fresh valley air. This was not just a spa. It was an experience. Inside the balneario, mineral baths promised relief for anemia, fatigue, and various ailments. Doctors recommended the water. The upper classes trusted it. Bottles of Agua de San Roque were filled and distributed beyond the valley, carrying the reputation of Agaete to other parts of the island. The nearby Botelladora, the bottling plant, became an essential part of the operation. Workers carefully prepared and sealed glass bottles, each one representing both nature and industry combined. For decades, the valley was alive. Carriages arrived, conversations echoed through corridors, water flowed continuously. But nature, the same force that created this opportunity, would also decide its fate. Over time, the water flow began to decline. Production slowed. Economic challenges followed. Without its powerful spring, the spa could not sustain its former glory, and so silence gradually replaced elegance. The buildings were left behind. Walls began to crack. Roofs weakened. The gardens grew wild. What was once a destination of health and sophistication became a quiet ruin embraced by the valley. Today, when you walk among the remains of Los Berrazales, you can still feel its past. The mountain air remains pure. The valley is still breathtaking, but the voices are gone. What remains is history, a reminder that even the most celebrated places depend on fragile natural balance, that prosperity can fade, that industries rise and fall. Los Berrazales is not just an abandoned spa. It is a chapter in Gran Canaria's transformation, from agricultural island to health retreat, to modern tourism destination. And here in the valley, surrounded by silence and greenery, time tells its story softly.
Number 4, shopping center Metro Playa del Ingles.
In the heart of Playa del Ingles, where neon lights once defined the rhythm of the night, stands a silent concrete giant. Centro Comercial Metro Playa del Ingles. There was a time when the Metro shopping center represented modern tourism in southern Gran Canaria. Built during the island's tourism boom, it was designed to serve a growing wave of international visitors arriving in search of sun, freedom, and nightlife. Shop windows glowed late into the evening. Music echoed between the floors. Metro was more than just a commercial center. It was part of the Playa del Ingles experience. Tourists wandered through boutiques, bars, souvenir shops, and nightlife venues. It reflected the optimism of an era when development felt unstoppable. The south of Gran Canaria was expanding rapidly. New hotels rose from the sand, infrastructure grew, investors believed in permanent growth, and Metro stood as a symbol of that confidence. But tourism changes, tastes change, economic realities shift. As newer and more modern commercial centers opened nearby, Metro slowly began to lose its appeal. Visitor numbers declined, maintenance became more difficult, legal and structural problems followed, shops closed one by one. Where once there were illuminated displays, there were now empty storefronts. The sound of conversation faded, dust replaced perfume, broken tiles replaced polished floors. For years, the building stood in uncertainty, a reminder of both ambition and fragility. Its concrete structure became an unexpected monument to a specific chapter in Gran Canaria's tourism history. Metro's story mirrors the island itself: rapid growth, transformation, reinvention, because Playa del Ingles did not disappear. It evolved. New investments reshaped the area. Modern shopping centers replaced older concepts. The tourism industry adapted, but Metro remained, frozen between past and future. Today, when standing in front of its silent facade, it is difficult to imagine the energy that once filled its corridors. Yet if you listen carefully, you can almost hear the echo of footsteps, the rhythm of nightlife, the optimism of another decade. Centro Commercial Metro is not just an abandoned building. It is a time capsule of Gran Canaria's tourism boom, and a reminder that even in paradise, nothing stands still forever.
Hello, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. And if you want, you can share this video with friends or on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to ExploGC channel to see every video we post. And click the notification bell to be the first to know when we post a new ExploGC video. And at last, please leave a comment what you think about the content of the video. Thank you so very much. And now let's continue with the video.
Number 3, Orfanato de las Monjas / Hotel Victoria.
High above the capital, in the quiet residential hills of Tafira Alta, stands a building that has carried more than one identity: Hotel Victoria Tafira Alta. Before abandonment, before broken windows and silence, this structure was a place of purpose. Locals remember it as the Orfanato de las Monjas, the orphanage of the nuns, a religious institution where discipline, faith, and daily routine shaped the lives of children who grew up within its walls. The building stood firm and dignified, surrounded by fresh mountain air and overlooking the city far below. In the early and mid-20th century, religious institutions played a significant role in education and social care across Spain. Within these walls, mornings likely began with prayer. Corridors echoed with footsteps, classrooms filled with instruction. Dormitories held whispered conversations long after lights were out. It was a structured world, orderly, protected, isolated, but time moves forward. As social systems changed and institutions evolved, the original function of the building faded. Like many large religious properties across the country, it faced uncertainty. Eventually, it was repurposed. For a period, it became known as Hotel Victoria, an attempt to transform its solemn past into hospitality. Rooms once meant for dormitories were adapted, common areas reimagined. The building shifted from discipline to leisure, yet not every transformation succeeds. Economic pressures, competition, and changing tourism patterns made survival difficult. The hotel chapter was short-lived, and once again, the doors closed. Since then, the building has stood in silence. Weather has marked the walls, paint has peeled, windows have shattered. Nature slowly approaches from the surrounding landscape. Inside, long corridors remain, now empty, carrying only the sound of wind. For many locals, the place carries an atmosphere that feels heavier than simple abandonment. Perhaps it is the memory of its institutional past. Perhaps it is the isolation of its hillside location. Or perhaps it is simply the human tendency to sense stories where walls have witnessed decades of life. Orfanato de las Monjas, Hotel Victoria, 2 names, 1 structure, multiple chapters. This building reflects a broader transformation in Gran Canaria's history, from strong religious institutions to modern social systems, from adaptation to abandonment. Today, it stands as a silent observer above Las Palmas, a reminder that architecture can outlive its purpose, that walls can hold memory long after voices disappear. This is not just a ruin in Tafira Alta, it is a layered story of faith, reinvention, and quiet decline.
Number 2, Finca San Rafael.
In the municipality of Telde, away from the coastline and modern developments, stands a forgotten estate that once breathed with agricultural life. Finca San Rafael, Telde. Before tourism reshaped the island, Gran Canaria survived on the land. Water, soil, and labor were the island's true wealth. Large fincas like San Rafael were not simply homes. They were economic engines. Built during a time when agriculture defined prosperity, Finca San Rafael was likely part of the island's farming network that supplied tomatoes, bananas, grains, and other crops for both local consumption and export. Estates like this often belonged to influential families who managed land, workers, irrigation systems, and trade connections. The main house stood with presence, strong walls, high ceilings, wide courtyards. Surrounding it were storage rooms, animal shelters, and agricultural structures. Wells and water systems were essential. On an island where rainfall is scarce, controlling water meant controlling survival. Daily life here would have begun early. Workers arriving at sunrise, tools carried across dusty paths, voices echoing through the courtyard. The smell of soil and livestock in the morning air. Finca San Rafael was part of a self-contained world, one where generations may have lived and worked together. It represented stability, continuity, connection to the land. But as the 20th century progressed, the island changed dramatically. Agriculture declined in importance as tourism expanded. Younger generations moved toward cities and service industries. Maintaining large rural estates became expensive. Economic priorities shifted south toward beaches and hotels. And slowly, estates like San Rafael lost their function. Without constant care, rural architecture deteriorates quickly. Roof tiles slip, wood weakens, walls crack under years of exposure. What once felt permanent begins to fade. Today, Finca San Rafael stands as a silent monument to Gran Canaria's agricultural era. Its empty rooms tell a different kind of story than abandoned hotels or shopping centers. This is not about tourism rise and fall. This is about the island's original backbone. The land remains, the soil still exists, but the human rhythm that once defined this place is gone. Walking through the ruins, you can still sense its scale. You can imagine the courtyard alive with movement. You can picture harvest seasons filled with urgency and purpose. Finca San Rafael reminds us that before the island became a destination, it was a working landscape. Before sunbeds and resorts, there were fields and wells. It is not just an abandoned building. It is a reminder of Gran Canaria's roots.
Number 1, Hotel Los Frailes.
In the green hills of Tafira, far from the busy beaches of the south, stands one of the most iconic abandoned buildings in Gran Canaria, Hotel Los Frailes Tafira. Before it became a ruin, before graffiti covered its walls and nature began to reclaim its corridors, this building was a symbol of elegance. Its origins go back to the 19th century when it was constructed as a grand manor house. The architecture reflected status and refinement, high ceilings, large windows, and carefully designed spaces that overlooked the lush landscape of Tafira. Later, as Gran Canaria entered new economic phases, the building was transformed into a hotel, Hotel Los Frailes. It offered something different from the coastal resorts. Here, guests could enjoy cooler mountain air, panoramic views, and a quieter atmosphere. It represented a more exclusive and intimate form of hospitality. Visitors arrived seeking peace. Evenings were calm. The gardens were maintained with care. For a time, the building adapted again, functioning as a restaurant and later even as a nightlife venue. Music once echoed where today only wind passes through broken frames. But like many ambitious projects, survival depended on constant investment, changing trends, and economic stability. And slowly, decline began. Maintenance became difficult. Ownership complications followed. The doors closed. Without protection, time accelerated its work. Roof sections collapsed, floors weakened, windows shattered. What once symbolized refinement became one of the island's most famous ruins. Today, Hotel Los Frailes stands as both beautiful and tragic. Its skeletal structure reveals layers of history: aristocratic residence, rural hotel, social venue. Few buildings on the island have experienced so many transformations. And perhaps that is why it fascinates so many, because it reflects the evolution of Gran Canaria itself, from landowner prestige to tourism adaptation to uncertain abandonment. Standing inside its remains, you can still feel its former grandeur. Light filters through broken ceilings. Vines climb the walls. Silence dominates what was once alive with conversation. Hotel Los Frailes is not just abandoned architecture. It is a monument to ambition, to reinvention, and to the fragile nature of permanence.
Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. Check our website ExploGC.es for more info, more extra content, and all the links to all our social media platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you like, you can watch one of our other videos. See you on the next video of ExploGC. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.